Hello, this is Dave with the Shepherd School, and today what we're going to do is we're going to do some really easy mead or honey wine. Now typically this is going to take, I don't know, 8 months to a year to be really nice, even though it'll be drinkable probably in a month or so. But this recipe is pretty simple. I've got 3 pounds of honey, an orange, some raisins, and some yeast. You could use bread yeast, but I'm actually using some Lavin D47, which is supposed to be pretty good for meads. I've got a gallon jug over here with some water, and because the honey is kind of hard because of temperature, I'm heating up some water, and I'm going to sit the honey in that and let it heat up a little bit so that it will be easier to pour. Alright, now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my orange, I'm going to cut it up into eighths, and I'm going to drop it in my jug, and then I'm going to put about 25 raisins in the jug. Now the orange is for taste, the raisins are for nutrients for the yeast. You don't have to necessarily put the orange in there, but you do need to put the raisins in there, or you could buy some yeast nutrient because the honey doesn't have enough nutrients for the yeast. Alright, I dropped the raisins in there. You might be able to see about 25 or so, and then I cut my orange up into eighths, and eighths drop in there right nice. You'll know that this is starting to get ready because the oranges will sink. And while I'm waiting on my water to heat up, I'm just going to take what I can out of the jar because I'm tired of waiting. You don't necessarily have to use 3 pounds. 2 pounds or so will work too. But the more you put in, the sweeter it'll be. But the longer it also will take to ferment. See how mine's crystallized out a little bit. Put it back in the hot water. Okay, I'll tell you, I cheated just a little bit, because as I heated this up, I added a little bit of water to it to dilute it out a little bit. Okay, as the last of my honey drips in there, I'll put in the yeast. Now this package of yeast was like 85 cents, and it's enough to do a 5-gallon bucket. And so I need to divide it up a little bit. And it really doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but for our purposes, it's really hard to put in too much yeast because the yeast is going to multiply inside the jug, right? Anyway, so I'm not going to put all of it, but I'm going to put about 1/3 of the package in there. And I'm going to paper clip that up and keep it for my next batch. Okay. Now that I've pitched my yeast, if I actually had the stopper, I would just shake this up, but I don't have the stopper for this anymore, so I'm going to stir it, which isn't as good as shaking, but it's what I got. So I've got my airlock, I've got a little bit of water in it. It would work pretty good with vodka or some sort of neutral spirit on the top there. This should start bubbling in about 24 hours, and I'm going to go put it in a dark spot where it could be undisturbed, dark warm spot. After about 3 weeks to a month, what I'm going to do is it would be ready to drink, but it wouldn't have its full flavor. The oranges might make it a little tart, So I'm going to rack it off into another glass jug for secondary fermentation and let it sit for a couple more months. I've heard from my my buddy that does this on a regular basis that, you know, it gets really good after about a year. I don't think it'll wait that long, but we'll see. So we'll do an update later, but until next time, you can always catch us online, www.tmgun.com.